Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. How are you doing today? Hope you're all fine. In this opportunity, I would like to share to you a bit of Islamic knowledge, and it is about Usul Al-Fiqh. Maybe some of you already know about what it is, and some of you not. So, let's dive it in. Well, basically, Usul Al-Fiqh is a tool to produce something that we call it as fiqh. And yes, fiqh is a product. So, to produce fiqh, we need this tool, a special tool, but it has extremely complicated constructions. But don't worry, because Usul Fiqh nowadays is already defined. Usul Al-Fiqh is not that something new, because the Prophet and Sahaba didn't need to deepen this kind of thing while solving problem or to judge some cases. They lived with it because it already became the part of their life. So what actually Usul Al-Fiqh is, as what I said earlier, that it is a tool to produce fiqh. Usul Al-Fiqh has three main constructions. The first construction is dalil, or we can call it as arguments, and the second is methods, and the last is ethics. So these three things build a tool that we call it as Usul Fiqh. Let's go further then. The first construction is arguments. There are two kinds of arguments. The first is universal arguments, and the second is specific arguments. Because Usul Fiqh is a tool to produce fiqh, so Usul Fiqh only contains universal arguments. So what is the differences between these two kinds of arguments? Firstly, universal arguments. Universal arguments are the arguments that can be the elements before the law is made, like orders, prohibitions, and so on. But they are not that connected or related to any specific cases, like what Allah said in Quran, "Aqimus Salah." When we see it as an order, and it means we should do a thing because every order tells obligation, we can say that Aqimus Salah is a universal argument, because again, it is basically just an order. But if we say that this argument is connected or related to a specific case, which is Salah, we can say that Aqimus Salah is no longer universal, and it already becomes specific. So it tells us that Salah is an obligation. So the second thing is the specific arguments. And there are all the arguments which are already related to specific cases. They can be Al-Quran, Sunnah, Ijma', or Qiyas. And the second thing is not Usul Fiqh, because it is already somehow processed or becomes a path to show us the fiqh. Or in other words, the specific arguments is a fixed water and it need to be processed one more time. Well, I think I will not continue the rest of Usul Fiqh's main constructions because it will be boring. That's it, and see you again in another video. Wassalam.